I know everybody thinks this is a big social event, but we actually have a meeting to hold here. All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Greg McGuire. I'm proud to be the president of the Las Vegas Rotary, the 104th president, the best Rotary club in the universe. Woo! We have another busy schedule today. I appreciate everybody that's here, and I want to thank you all for being here and being part of our Rotary group. Sometimes we spend a lot of time thanking everybody else, but let's thank ourselves also for all the work that we're doing. It's much appreciated. And if I could ask past President Janice Linke to come up and lead us in the invocation.
Whoa. I'm here to do the surprise and delight. Okay. May we embrace new ideas with enthusiasm, welcome challenges with courage, and continue to strengthen the bonds of fellowship that unite us. Let us remain guided by the timeless values of Rotary service above self, integrity in all that we do, and a steadfast commitment to creating lasting positive change. Together, let's make this Rotary year one filled with meaningful action, inspiring collaboration, and a renewed sense of purpose as we continue to create lasting impact and create hope through service. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Janice. David, I believe you're song leader. This is the first time we've actually signed everybody up through Club Runner, so I'm looking to make sure that they understood.
I wasn't sure I was for sure going to be this. So today, I had such fun doing My Country 'Tis of Thee last week. I want to do it again. You don't have to put your hand over your heart because it's not our national anthem, but feel welcome to if you want to. I like it. It's a great song. So I will start with the first verse so you don't have to hear me squawking. Ready? My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
All right, well done. If you said that there's going to be a second verse, I think you would be on your own there. Okay, our Sergeant of Arms today is past President Randy Donald. Lead us in the pledge, sir.
All right. Ready? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Seats, please. So we had our first little hiccup with Club Runner. Larry Goldstein had signed up to be our Sergeant at Arms today. And I said, well, you can do next week. He said, no, I can't. I'm going away for 7 weeks on a cruise. So, Larry, we'll see you in 8 weeks. Set up today thank you, Bob Warner. And who helped you, Bob? Debbie. All right. Greeters, I saw a lot of greeters over there. Randall, Brody, and Larry Cohn had signed up, but I saw Erica and Katie also. Thank you. Ticket sales, Martha Garcia and Jim Hunt. Photographer is Christian. Thank you, sir. Scribe is Susan Ziobro, our secretary. And AV team, Stu Lipoff. Thank you, Stu. And Teardown, Chris Darnell and Harrison Freed. So thank you all. With that we have, so let's get it, Christian, we get a picture of the head table? Nope. Sarah, who? Sarah, do you photo? Can we get a picture of the head table? Head table today is Branton Blunt, our program speaker. Our guest speaker is Jennifer from CASA. Our board members, Larry Cohn and Susan Ziobro, and Larry Goldstein because he's leaving. Okay, I believe we have a couple guests. Bob, no international guests today, correct? Okay, well, that's it. He's going to be international. We start traveling around a bunch. We did have a guest last week, an international guest, Karsten, and he sent an amazing email saying he was so impressed with the group and the Rotary Club here. And in particular, he loved all the happy stories, the happy buck stories. So we're going to continue that. He said sometimes in his club, it feels like all they talk about is bad news. And he was just so impressed. I mean, this email we got from him was incredible about how thankful he was that he took the time to be here. So congratulations to each of you that shared a good story last week. Visiting Rotarians. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? Seeing none, I believe we have some guests of Rotarians.
Hello, everyone. I'm very proud and honored to have Kelly Schwartz with us today from Big Brothers Big Sisters. Their organization is actually one of our participants in our Santa Claus program. So she's visiting us today and checking out our great club.
Thank you.
And Annie? Okay, Steve Kwan in the back.
I have a guest, Peter. He's the third time, and he want to join our club.
Third time's a charm. Welcome.
Welcome. Annie has someone special here today.
Does.
I do. I have my other granddaughter. Her name is Navea. That is heaven spelled backwards. Anyway, she just moved back home from Arizona. She's been going to college over there, and she finished. And I'm happy that she's going to be in town with us.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome.
Any other guests of Rotarians? Seeing none. Melanie's kind of a guest. We haven't seen her around in a while. Okay, any guests of our club, Larry? None today, right? All right, very good. Okay, so thank you, Randy. Okay. If I could call your attention to the president's message, it's a very important one. So we're going to do a little bit of a discussion here about safety, particularly as we go into this week. It's going to be very, very hot outside. So just take it easy. I know Cynthia likes to go out and play tennis in the morning, and then she comes back and she's like, oh, man, I'm wiped out for the day, right? So just remember that we're going to be hitting about 115, 116 degrees ambient temperatures this week. That's probably not the time for, to join Larry out in his pickleball court, and he's going to talk about that later on also. But there's a couple other things we're going to just talk our way through right now. So if there was a fire in this facility right now, where would you guys go? Okay, would you go out this door? You'd be stuck in a closet, all right? So I don't even know why they have an exit. Oh, there is one there, right? And there's one in that one. The problem with this one, though, it's got a panic bar on it that says if you go out there, it's going to alarm. So what are you going to do? I'm going out there, all right? You're going out there, all right? Well, I just bring this up because people will get to the door and go, oh, I can't go out of here because it's going to set an alarm off, right? I probably wouldn't go out that one because that's where the kitchen is, right? That's probably where the fire started, right? So you can go out here, you can go out here, and you go out where Sean is right there, okay? Now, if you're going to do that, this is kind of like, I was a pilot in the Navy, so it's kind of like being a pilot on an airplane. We got to have the safety brief, right? So we haven't done this in a while. At some point in the future, we'll actually do a fire drill, and we'll go out there. We need to have a muster location, and I think over here is probably the best, this parking lot over here, just because there's a little bit of shade over there, and we don't want to be standing out over here, okay? So if we ever have a fire drill, find your way over to the other side of the building. If you go out that door, I don't know if you can go all the way around the back. Just stay out of the way of any paramedics, fire trucks, or anything like that coming. All right, AED. Where's the AED located in the building? It's not. There isn't one, okay? So that leaves us, right? Does anybody in here know CPR? Are you currently certified in CPR? All right, very good. So just find, if you're having a heart attack, find one of those people with their hands up, lay down in front of them, and just say, start now, okay? That's great. How about the Heimlich maneuver? Jim Hunt's going to be certified because of what he's doing with his new job, and Debbie also. Heimlich maneuver. Has anybody had to do the Heimlich maneuver on anybody? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. I've had to do it on 4 people. 4 people, 3 of them were the same person, and I'm not going to tell you who. I'm not kidding. The 4th one was actually at TPC Las Vegas before I met Dan Adamson, and it was at a chicken wing contest. And so if you're having trouble choking, what do? Stand up, if you can, but go like this, right? You go like this. And then that's a pretty good sign, and then your eyes are probably rolled back in your head, and that's probably a pretty good sign for somebody to do the Heimlich maneuver. It's very simple. You just come up from behind somebody, and you just bring it up. You got to be like right here, and you're not just going in, you're going in and up, right? And you do that enough times, and sooner or later, the guy's going to spit out the chicken wing, and then he's going to do what this guy did. He went back to the chicken wing eating contest. No joke. Some people just are glutton for punishment. Okay, any questions on those items, all right? If you have any kind of problem choking, we were in the restaurant, could happen. But so how do you prevent having to get the Heimlich maneuver? Chew your food, all right? Take it easy, slow it down, cut it up, chew it down, and then fire drill, remember, exit here, exit there. Obviously, if there's people running in from that direction, probably don't run to that direction, run the other way, all right? But help each other out if it came down to that. It's not like an airplane where you're bringing luggage and all that kind of stuff in, but you don't need to bring everything with you. So just make your way easily, and then we'll do muster out there, stay out of the way of paramedics. We'll deal with it from there. All right, any questions on that? All right, thank you. Okay, the next thing I'd like to call your attention to is anybody received this magazine, Rotary International? I encourage you to go through these when you receive them. They're pretty interesting. So this is about our new president, Yinka, from Nigeria, and it's fascinating. And he would always say, better your best. I don't want you to compete with other clubs. I want you to compete with yourself. And I thought that was pretty good. And I think what he's talking about within our own club, how do we continue to build on the work of all the other previous years that this club has been around, over 100 years, all the work that the other past presidents have done, and we just want to continue to get better. So that's what we're always looking for, is more self-improvement. With that, we're going to just continue to work on that. If you go through the rest of this issue, you'll see who the next presidents are going to be. And Larry Lunsford from Kansas City, he's the president-elect for Rotary International. And Dr. Rampur introduced me to Triple M, who's from India, and he's the president-elect nominee, I guess. That's how you say it, David? So his name is Vice President, Rotary Club of Behel City, and he is Murugandamam. It's close? Close enough, right, Dr. Rampur? You're not going to report me? Triple M, all right? Nice guy. He donated $250,000 to the Paul Harris building in Evanston, Illinois. He was one of the first benefactors for that, so that was great to see. Okay, with that, we'll go into some club announcements. Past President Randy Donald, if you can take the microphone to Rosalie Hedrick.
Okay, everyone. I wanted to bring to your attention and remind everyone also, you can sign up in the Green Book, which is going around, and also online through our new site that Greg set up. So those are 2 ways. Make sure that you don't double sign up, because We're doing a tour at Metropolitan Police Department at the drone facility, and it will be on August 11th, and it's from 2 to 4. Dory Corin, if you guys remember, who is our speaker here, he's going to try really hard to join us if he's available and his schedule allows. The cost to do it is $25. That $25 goes directly to our foundation. So please let me know if you have any questions, or call me, or sign up today in the Green Book. It's going to be a lot of fun. We get to see some exciting stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Now over to Ms. Gwen Hall for Amazon backpacks.
There she is. You're hiding back here.
Greg has gotten Amazon to donate backpacks for our 6 schools. We'll have a distribution later in August or September. And a while back, Larry volunteered his office supplies. Apparently, he's going out of business. And if anybody else...
So you're not telling us, Larry?
Greg says probably there's other people in this club who have office supplies that they could donate. We will find a location for you to drop them off, and they will be delivered to the schools with the backpacks.
The Larrys are pointing to each other going, I'm not going out of business, you're going out of business. You're already out of business.
It's already out of business.
Larry, go on vacation, would you? Okay, orientation. Larry Cohen, orientation. This might be a surprise for one of the members in the club. Katie.
All right, as a little bit of a background, every new member or existing member should and is actually kind of required to go through a club orientation. Our next orientation is going to be August 19th at Katie's home. She volunteered. The address will be forthcoming in an announcement. It would be 5:30 to roughly 7:30. The orientations are for a couple of reasons. One is you really should learn about the club's operation, the things we do, so you're more in tune with our goals. The other side is meeting each other and learning each other. So we combine the 25 club meeting with the orientation so you can get some socialization, meet some of the new members. So we invite everyone here, long-term members and new members, to attend the event. The food will be there. It's taken care of through the membership budget, so we don't have to worry about potluck, which is usually what 25 Club does. So if you have not had a formal orientation, please let us know, and then do everything you can to attend the meeting.
And you said earlier there's a few people that probably should go back through it again anyway, correct?
Right. It's always good to relearn. I know he's looking at me, but I know everything, so we're fine.
So Larry, while we're on the topic of good times and members, how did the pickleball tournament go last week?
We had fewer people than had originally signed up. We had 5 people, but we played solidly for 2 hours, so everybody got their exercise and had a good time. Harrison came as a relatively neophyte to the game, and he was starting to hit shots where I couldn't get to him. So it was exciting. We'll have another one next month. You can sign up in Club Runner, and do try to make it if you commit, because I end up having to pay for the event 2 weeks in advance. So I always get 2 courts. Sometimes if I know that we're going to have more than that, I get 3 courts. So if I don't get the members to come who are committed to coming, it comes out of my grocery budget. And
so Larry's out about $100, just to everybody knows. So when you sign up for those things, it's very important to let him know if it's going to change, and not the night before, obviously. Right. But we want people to sign up. But we just also want to call attention that one of our members had to pay $100 out of pocket.
Right. Usually it costs you $20 for 2 hours to play, so it's well worth your investment. And we do have a great time over at Vegas Indoor Pickleball. So do try to come. And then lastly, if anybody wants to play during the week, I've got 10 courts up where I live, and can come by in the evening and we can do an hour of training and a little bit of exercise. So
Great.
just
And you guys do CPR practice after the
right,
pickleball
and
tournament?
I
right?
even know where the AED is.
All
so
right, good.
we're good. Thanks,
very
everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Larry normally brings his oxygen tank.
That's it, yeah. Okay, take the microphone to Ms. Dorina King over here, our 25 Club Secretary for the Alpine Picnic.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to encourage everybody in our book here. We have our sign up. This is for the Alpine picnic that's coming up on August 29th. We do have at 8 a.m. We're having a hike where we'll all come together to hike. So please sign up. Also, we'll be emailing out, or you can look in the Club Runner for our sign up as far as what our side dishes will be. So we want to be able to be sure that everybody signs up to bring something, because it's bring something with you.
And
all right?
those are when you mean something, it means an appetizer or a side dish like a
side
salad
dish.
or a dessert.
It's a side dish or a dessert.
And so that did when you probably saw that go out in Club Runner this morning. All you have to do is click on the link and it'll take you right to it. Of course, you need to kind of be in Club Runner, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But actually, I think it'll still work. You can just, even if you're not in it, you haven't signed in,
Yes.
you can sign in and do that. And so some people already did that this morning. I saw Erica had done that, so thank you, Erica. And that's a great way. The sign-up list is out for that. The sign-up list to attend the event went out also, but the registration date was not yet open. I fixed that as soon as Tina told me to get my act together and fix it. So you should have got an email to go to the event, and you should have got a Club Runner to bring a dish, and then you should have got another one to sign up to help set up, cook, or clean.
Yes.
And so Larry told me that himself and past President Randy Campanelli are volunteering to cook, and I said, do I need to bring my own lunch then, or what's happening? All right? Thank you, Dorina.
Also, one other quick thing. Also, if you could please, as soon as possible, checking with your calendar, go ahead and register for that, because we do need to purchase the meats. So we need a head count on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dorina and 25 Club. Over to Tina for Welcome Back, Buddies and Books.
Hi, everybody. Does everybody know what August 10th is? That's back to school. Exactly. We've participated for many, many years with one of the Spread the Word. We do a couple of Spread the Word programs, but the one I want to talk about now is called Books and Buddies. And this is the program where you would volunteer your time for an hour, Monday through Thursday from anywhere from 9 to 2, and you would be there for an hour. You would have two children for a half hour each, and read a book and play games with them, word games, and to help them with their learning and comprehension. We do this at Beckley Elementary. If you are interested in doing this and have not done it recently, if you did not do it last year, you're going to need to go to an orientation at Spread the Word, and they'll set you up. You're going to have to be fingerprinted by CCSD, and you also will need to fill out the Rotary youth protection training that we have. I think it's under Deb's directorship. It's not. Well, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that's a TBD. We'll need to do that also. But the whole process is 4 to 6 weeks. So considering they start about mid-September, we don't have the date yet. If you're interested in working with a child, and you might even do what Tony and I used to do, and that was share a time slot. So I would go 1 week and she would go the next, and we'd cover for each other. So you can do that too. You've got my email. If you want more information, let me know. I put a flyer on the table in the back, and I hope to see you there.
Okay, and thank you, Tina, for taking over the wheel for past President Karen while she's out fishing in Canada for a couple weeks. Okay, past President Steve Linder is another guy away on vacation for a few weeks. He just asked me to remind everybody about the upcoming Salvation Army event on September 12th, training at 1 o'clock, and then feeding the people there at 1:30 to 2:30. We also have another event. Kyle, you're going to be in a little bit of competition here, but my Amazon team has arranged for an opportunity for anybody who wants to volunteer, and I think there's going to be multiple of them, at the McDonald House starting on August 18th to feed some of the families. It is over near Sahara and Jones, and I'll get more details out on that later on. We'll probably have some Amazon people there, and then Rotarians if you want to join. What we're trying to do this year is have some more of these kind of quick hit events during the week that you can kind of go to, and if you have time. We're not going to overcommit on it, but we do want to offer more volunteer opportunities because that's what we're here to do. Don't forget, Stockton is away at a wedding this week. He's our Wetzel Awards chairman. That is coming up here August 20th, where the award winners will be here with us. And we also, Karen asked me to remind everybody that we have 5 wheel ads still available if anybody is interested in that. Okay, with that, we'll kind of move into some Happy Bucks time. Anybody have a good story? Uh-oh, here comes one.
Let me insert something here, President Gregg. I was thinking that, I don't know whether you're aware of this or not, but we used to have this big curtain with all the flags that we kept the desert in, and all the flags got pinned to that. We actually donated that to UNLV Library, archived it there.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe at the end of this year, that's where the Green Book could go.
Yes,
What do
I
you
like
think?
that idea. All right.
We'll retire the Green Book to the UNLV Library.
We need to retire the Green Book, and it's going to be confusing for some people with the Club Runner and the Green Book. But so since Randy brought it up, the one thing about Club Runner is we can kind of get an idea what our average age group is in here. So.
Need a drum roll for this?
When I saw the numbers, I said, "Oh, maybe that's why we're having some problems with the adoption rate of Club Runner." But about 40% of our members are over the age of 70, which is fantastic. It's a lot of great experience. But I understand that there's a lot of tradition with the Green Book, and we're used to signing up in the Green Book. But this is the future. This is a thing called a cell phone, and it's got this new thing called the app. And I'm happy to walk anybody through it, but we're seeing people do come on board, and it's working. So we just need to keep working on that. Thanks for sharing that, Randy.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have $5 happy. My son Sam has just sold his social media company and taken a position that will require him spending half time between Singapore and Boston. He's been in Singapore for the last 10 years, and now that he's going to be spending some more time here, I'm going to have more of an opportunity to be able to see him.
That's fantastic. Well done to Sam. Past President Randy Campanelli.
Okay.
Sing it to us, Randy.
It's got to be a cash, Randy, so you know.
You want me to sing? I'll start with My Way. And now, I was going to maybe do it after our speaker, but I told her a story, and I figured I might as well do it now and cough up the $5. So about 26 years ago, our Rotary Club used to take kids from Child Haven to sporting events. And I was an authorized volunteer at Child Haven at the time, which, by the way, is a wonderful attitude adjuster if you're going through a divorce. So believe me, I'm joking, but I'm actually deadly serious. It's just, you won't feel sorry for yourself. Anyways, because you just can't say I want to volunteer, you got to be approved. So I worked it out with Child Haven that if I trained the volunteers that were taking the Child Haven kids, that they would let me do it, and they did. And the training was simple. It's like, don't ask about their parents, don't ask why they're there, just ask about your favorite team and all that stuff. So we used to take them to the UNLV football games and the UNLV basketball games. And it ended when Child Haven, when the county changed the whole program, and I won't get into all that stuff, but it wasn't feasible, and it's really not feasible now to do that. So just wanted you guys to know, for 3 or 4 years, we used to take those kids, and it was very rewarding for the people that went, for our members.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Happy Bucks. Any good news? Past President Mike Kudima, or President-elect.
Let me mark
Mike
my way
Kudima.
that way. Whoop. I'll get my exercise. I'll be back.
I thought I fell asleep 2 years. Past president already. So the time has come already for our 2 exchange students coming in. One's coming in this Saturday, the one from Netherlands, Sophia de Jong from Netherlands. She's coming in Saturday at 6:30 in the afternoon. Anybody who wants to join us to meet her in the airport will be very welcome. So inform Soleil Ray, because she's organizing the big banner, Welcome Sophia Jong in the airport, and the host family. And then the other German boy who's also coming next week and next Saturday in the 8th at 4:20 in the afternoon. Anybody also wants to join, please join us to greet him and welcome him to our club. So next week, or the week after, we will be bringing them both here in our club as a guest, so that you can all meet them.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And Mike, can you come on up here? We have a pin for you that somehow when we pinned you the wrong thing. But this is the official president-elect that was handed it this morning by a guy in the parking lot. So this is for you.
Did you? No?
Thank you, Andrew. Okay,
Still
anybody, any other happy stories? Any other happy Bucks?
Yeah, we have one.
Oh,
right
we
here.
got one. Okay.
Right here.
Wow.
I do. I would like to share that I became a great, great aunt for the second time, and Stetson has joined our family. So I just wanted to share that with all of you.
Wow, that's
and since
fantastic.
he has a brother, we'll do $10, so they can do $5 for each of them.
All right, well done. And
That's a
remember,
Rotary spirit.
all this money that we're raising here goes straight to the canned food drive. And then once the canned food drive is over, we're going to figure out another place for it to go. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Past President Tom Thomas. Yeah, okay, I'm out.
Well, this is in the spirit of America 250. A couple months ago, I mentioned that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints started an initiative around the country to deliver 250 semi-trucks full of food to all 50 states. And our first one, several months ago, we split between the Salvation Army, which many of you will be at serving food, so some of that food will come from that. And then we split the 40,000 pounds also with the Just One Project, which our club is also well aware of. We just finished another delivery of 40,000 pounds, but this was to rural Nevada, to areas like Pahrump and Moapa and Caliente and Elko and Ely, and just finished that. So happy America 250th.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. That gives us another avenue of 250. So that's fantastic news. Anybody else? Okay, I actually have one. I got two. If you watch CNBC every morning like I do, you saw Jersey Mike's did their IPO today. And as a fellow Jersey guy, I give a shout out to Danny DeVito and Jersey Mike's and everybody else and Eli Manning that were over there ringing the bells. So that was awesome. And then the second one is my nephew, Ronan, is following in my footsteps. He just graduated from Navy boot camp. He got a full scholarship ride, NROTC, to University of Michigan to study nuclear biology or something like that. So he's not completely following in my footsteps, but on that one, but he's doing awesome. And he'll start school at Michigan here in Ann Arbor in a couple weeks, I guess. So that's it. All right, let's do the raffle. First one is for the split the pot, or to pull the joker, 622-0221. 622-0221. Larry's determined to make his $100 back. All right, sir, pick a card, any card. Larry wins a lot, but not today. Six of dimes. Yeah. There's your $10. So you're $90 in the hole. And the Lowry Bucks, $50 in Lowry Bucks, 622-0116. 622-0116. $622-0116. Okay, our club's 25 club secretary, Jordan King. That's it. You got him. You get the. What do you do with Lowry Bucks? Anybody know, Debbie? Yeah. You go to the bar. All right, very good. Thank you, everybody, for today. And now I'd ask our speaker chair, Branton Blunt, to come up and introduce our guest speaker for today.
Thank you, Greg. I screwed myself on this one. I did not print it out in large font, so I have to read the small font. My good friend Jennifer is here to speak with us today. She is founder and board president of Champions for CASA with more than 25 years of executive leadership experience. She has dedicated her work to supporting children in the foster care and the volunteers who advocate for them. Through innovative programs and community partnerships, Jennifer continues to make a lasting impact on the lives of vulnerable children throughout Southern Nevada. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Jennifer Page.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate the opportunity. I do have the opportunity to speak at clubs throughout the Valley, and I have to say I'm very impressed with this group. So you guys make up a great thing. One of the things that makes me the most proud is of everyone that I spoke to in the intro, there wasn't a single person who wasn't already familiar with CASA. So that is incredibly valuable to me as I go through this. So hopefully I won't bore you with some of the basics and some of the details that way. But I will give you a little bit of backstory for myself. So I spent 25 years as a senior executive in corporate America, helped take a company public, had a fun and wild ride, grew a company from 2 employees to over 5,000 in the human capital management space. So I spent a lot of time and effort working with businesses and whatnot. And what I realized is it paled in comparison to the work that I do today. I like to tell people that I traded in work that fed my pocketbook for work that feeds my soul. And that's really what I'm able to do with Champions today. No, this is not working, if you don't mind. There we go. So I'm going to start with just a video that gives you a little bit of an introduction to who Champions is and the work that we do.
Imagine being a child in foster care, navigating constant change, uncertainty, and not always having someone you can count on. Now imagine what it means to have one consistent person, someone that shows up, listens, and stays. That's the role of a CASA volunteer.
CASA volunteers are often the one steady presence in a child's life, advocating for them, supporting them, and reminding them they matter. Just showing up consistently changes everything.
But connection doesn't happen on its own. It requires time, intention, and support. This is where Champions for CASA steps in, recruiting, training, and supporting volunteers so that they can show up when it matters most.
This space was created so volunteers and children have somewhere to truly connect, to talk, to learn, and to simply be together. Moments like these, cooking together, laughing, learning, building trust, confidence, and connection. For many children, it's not just about the activity. It's about having someone who shows up again and again. That one consistent volunteer can change the trajectory of a child's life. And when more volunteers step forward, more children get that chance.
That's why the Power of One matters. Through a simple monthly gift, you help ensure that every child has a CASA volunteer, someone in their corner every step of the way. Your support helps recruit, train, and equip volunteers, and it creates the consistency that changes outcomes.
Because no child should have to navigate foster care alone. You can be part of that solution. Become a CASA volunteer, join the Power of One, or invite us into your workplace to help more people learn about this important work.
The more people who know, the more children we can serve.
One volunteer
One child.
and one future changed. You could be the one.
You can be the one.
Just one. You can be the one.
All right, so we are going to start with a little bit of the basics here. So I want you all to imagine what it would feel like to have everything that you've ever known change. Because that's what these kids experience, right? Kids are living in foster care through no fault of their own. They are in the system due to abuse or neglect. And when I say that, I won't go into specific details that would curl your toes and make you wish you didn't know what these kids actually experienced. But what I will say is abuse and neglect is not a simple punishment. It's not a reprimand. This is a child's life is in danger to the point that they need to be removed from physical custody of the parents that they live with. And they're put into the foster care system. And once they're in the foster care system, I would love to stand up here today and tell you that all foster homes are in it for the right reasons. Because there are a lot of great foster homes in this community. Don't get me wrong, I never want to misrepresent that. However, there are also several that are in it just for the money. And what that looks like are foster homes that may have kids, 5, 6, 7 kids in there. They'll have teenagers and younger children. The teenagers are responsible for taking care of the younger children. The reality is this can be a money-making opportunity for people. When you can make $1,400, $1,500 per month per kid to have them in your home, there's nothing in that that says you have to actually do anything for the child other than provide them with a safe place to live, which means a warm bed to sleep in, a house that has a roof, and a door that locks at night so that they have a safe place to live, and that they get 3 meals, right? But nowhere in there did I say that they have to ask them how their day was, or who their friends are at school, or what they want to be when they grow up, or if they know how to cook a meal for themselves to prepare them for what life is going to be like when they age out of the foster care system, right? And so unfortunately, the reality is many of these children are floundering in this system without the tools and the resources that they need to be successful when they age out of the foster care system. So at age 18, they will, regardless of the time of their life, on their 18th birthday, if that check stops coming, that foster parent is able to say, the door is open and I need you to leave. And that child, even if they're still in high school, or regardless of where they are in their life, or regardless of where they are in their ability to care for themselves, is out in the world alone. And so what we like to say as a CASA volunteer is that one person who always shows up and is always there for that child. And so we are volunteers. I am a CASA volunteer myself. And what CASA volunteers do is we spend about 5 to 10 hours a month working individually one-on-one with these kids. And so we go through a process of training through the CASA Las Vegas program, which is run through the 8th Judicial Court System. So we are sworn in by a judge to advocate for these kids. We get to know everything there is to know about them. We get access to their full case file, but we also get access to everything they have in their lives. So they're doctors, they're teachers, they're therapists, they're judges, they're attorneys, everyone who's in the system to help them and support them. And so oftentimes I have people who say, well, they probably have everything that they need then, right? They have a whole team of people they're supporting them. Unfortunately, they don't, right? So they have a caseworker who works for Child and Family Services who does the absolute best job they possibly can with the caseload and the management that they have. Oftentimes, they see the kids for 15 minutes to an hour a month, and then they're responsible for making permanency decisions for those kids. And those are the people that probably know the kid better than anyone else. And that's a sad fact if you're thinking about under an hour a month to really get to know one of those children, right? And so what a CASA volunteer does is we step into that life of the child and we build rapport. We spend time with the child outside in the community. We get to know them, what they do, what they need, who they are as individuals. We role model, advocate, mentor for them. And then we work throughout the system to make sure that they're getting everything that they need, right? And so that's the role of a CASA volunteer. And so what we like to say is that one consistent adult can literally change a child's story. So I'm going to ask you not to quote me on this, but directionally, I would tell you that 70% of kids who age out of foster care at age 18, if you look at them by the age of 25, they are they're homeless, they're addicted to drugs or alcohol, they are a parent themselves, and more than 50% of the time have lost custody of their own children, and the children enter into the foster care system themselves. They're dead or, in jail. And so those are pretty grim statistics, and it's a pretty grim path for these kids. Now, if they have a CASA volunteer in their lives, their outcomes change significantly. They do better in school. They have a greater chance of being placed in a permanent home, meaning they have been adopted or reunified back with their parents if it's safe to do so. As a CASA volunteer, I am able to go before the judge. I write a case report that gives them the information that they need. We like to call ourselves the eyes and ears of the court. So we are volunteers, common sense approach to the case, common sense approach to what's in the best interest of that child, but we tell the judge this is what we think this child needs. It's safe for them to go home or it's not safe for them to go home. They should live in this foster home, or maybe there's something going on that they need to be aware of and that this isn't a good placement. Maybe they need glasses. Maybe they need therapy, right? We're able to talk to their teachers and find out how they're doing in school. But in that 5 to 10 hours a month, what we're really doing is building rapport with that child and making sure that they have hope. That they have hope that there is somebody out there that cares about them, that they do matter in life, and that we're there to actually support them. If you can go on. There is no typical CASA volunteer. They come in all shapes, sizes, levels of experience. We've got professionals and students. We've got parents, teachers, retired individuals, right? Oftentimes people think, well, when I retire, that's the perfect time for me. And for some, that is the right time, right? For others, it might be when you're 23 and just looking to give back to your community. Or maybe you're a parent yourself and don't like to see these kids go through these kinds of things, right? All stages of life. Again, it takes about 5 to 10 hours a month. As volunteers, what we do is we take those kids out in the community to build those relationships. When we do that, you can go ahead on to the next one. When we do that, we're able to really kind of build those relationships. And so some of what our CASA volunteers share, so this is Amy that I have up on the screen here, and she spoke at one of our last fundraisers and shared a story about her CASA volunteer her CASA child rather, who while they were at school had tried calling home to their foster parent many times. They were having an issue in school and needed to be picked up right away, and they couldn't be reached. And so this kid sat for the entire school day in that nurse's office, and finally they said to him, do you think you could just call my CASA? And they called Amy, and Amy was able to answer the phone and show up for that child and help them with what they needed. She has access to that child and is able to transport them, so she was able to take them and get them back to where they needed to be. But what that child learned in that moment is that they can count on that individual. They can't always count on the other people. They can't count on the caseworker because the caseworker's got many other cases, maybe in court, maybe somewhere else, so that person wasn't going to show up for them. They can't always count on their foster parents. They are oftentimes separated from their siblings, but what they do know is when they have a CASA volunteer, they can count on that person. We show up when we say we're going to show up, and we do what we say we're going to do. Right? We did talk a little bit. I don't like to harp on this. The one thing that I'll say about our giving club is this. I can stand here all day long and pitch you for money. That's easy for nonprofits to do, right? It's how we keep our things going. We are a 501c3, we're IRS certified, all those things. But what I want more than money are volunteers. And so my ask today is to support us in whatever way that you can. That may be to become a volunteer yourself. You may have the heart, the passion, and the time to be able to do something like that. If you don't, there's always financial opportunities for you to be able to do that as well. And if that doesn't work, introduce us to somebody you know. So we do a lot within the community, speaking opportunities like this, right? Being able to be introduced to others just to share our story and to tell the message about what the need is. There are over 3,200 kids living in foster care right here in Southern Nevada. They're living in our communities, they're living on our streets, they could be our neighbors, and we don't even know it. But what I can tell you about these kids is they desperately, desperately need somebody in their corner who's not paid to be there. They need somebody that they can count on that just shows up because they care. Right? They need somebody that says, I'm willing to hang out with you for a few hours. I'll sit next to you and watch television, right? It could be something as simple as that. We actually opened up our, you can skip that one and go one more. We actually opened up our, we call it our Connection Center. So you saw a little bit about that in our video. So I mentioned to you what my background was and some of the cool things, I mean, I stood at NASDAQ and rang the bell, right? It's kind of the pinnacle of a career. It's something that I'm super incredibly proud of. But it paled in comparison to the day I opened the Connection Center. So we opened what we call the Champions for CASA Connection Center. It's a home-like environment. We just opened it this last November. And what it is it's a place where CASA volunteers can bring their kids to just hang out. It's free of charge for all volunteers and kids to come. We've got a full working kitchen. Volunteers can come in and build life skills with their kids. They can teach them how to cook. They can teach them how to menu plan. They can take them shopping. They can build those skills that those kids are going to need so they don't become one of those statistics like I talked about earlier, right? There's a full living room with 2 televisions and streaming services where they can just sit and simply watch a TV show that really matters to them. And to have somebody sit by their side who reaches over gently and just touches their shoulder and says, what do you want to watch today, right? What do you like to do? Who are you and I'm interested, right? It's those little teeny tiny things that make the difference for the kids that we work with. And so in addition to that, we've got a quiet room where they can process, they can talk to their volunteer. Obviously, I mentioned abuse and neglect. These are some pretty tough topics. I want you to imagine for a second, my niche is I work with teenage girls mostly, and unfortunately the majority of them have had sexual trauma and sexual abuse in their life. And so I want you to imagine that you're sitting with a 16-year-old girl who's telling you about how she's been raped or molested and had all this sexual trauma, and you're doing it prior to having the Connection Center, you're doing it at a Starbucks because that's the place that you go, right? And as volunteers, everything that we do comes out of our own pocket. So if we want to take them out in the community, we certainly can. We can go roller skating, we can go to the movies, we can do all those cool, fun things. I learned, so I've had 8 kids that I've worked with in the last 8 years that I've been a CASA volunteer, and I learned with that first case in the first year that if all I do is take them fun places, I show up every other Saturday and I'm eager and I'm excited and I want to spend time, and I used to think that meant let's take them everywhere they've never been. A lot of these kids have never been to a sit-down restaurant. They've never ordered off a menu. They don't go to the movie theater. They don't go roller skating, things like that, right? And so I thought, I can do so many things. I took one of my kids to the Sphere, and we saw Wizard of Oz, right? Those are all great activities. But what I realized quickly after that first year was that's the tone of the relationship that I'm setting with that child. And she literally said to me, she looked at me one day and said, hey, you're the cool, fun, rich white lady that shows up and takes me fun places. Not exactly what I was going for. Right? And so now I've shifted as a volunteer, and we work on a reward and earning system, and we do great fun things when they do well in school or, for their birthdays or for things like that. And the rest of the time, we build a relationship and we talk, right? And we set up little rules and boundaries. So I also work with her brother as well. He's a little bit younger, and he loves to use my phone and play video games. And so we have something set up that I tell him all the time, you can use my phone for as long as you'd like. You can play as many video games as you want. We're going to time it, and the number of minutes that you sit on my phone and play video games is the number of minutes that we're going to sit down and have eye contact and have a conversation. So you pick however long you'd like that to be, right? And so it's a way for me to really interact and engage with the kids and help to really drive value and to drive meaning out of what we do. But as I circle that back to the Connection Center and how it used to be, I want you to imagine that Starbucks visit. And you're sitting talking to that 16-year-old girl about the difficulties that she's gone through in her life, and you got some creepy Joe sitting next to you drinking his coffee, listening in. And maybe he doesn't even realize that it's, inappropriate or not doing anything wrong, but there's no dignity in that. There's no respect in that for that child, right? And it's very uncomfortable. And so we created the Connection Center for volunteers to be able to come in and do that. So we have a room called the Quiet Room that's dedicated just to that, to having difficult conversations. And it's got fidget toys and spinny chairs where the kids can, kind of sway a little bit when they're talking about things that are difficult, and they don't have to make eye contact, and they can process those. Now I say that, and I talk about volunteers not having to have those specialized skills, right? So I'm not a therapist, I'm not a social worker, I don't have any specialized training in any of those things, but I can listen. Right? And I can give support, and I can make sure that that child knows what happened to you is not okay, and it's of no fault of your own, right? And just those simple little things, I can't emphasize enough the value and the reinforcement that that has on a child that helps them realize when they start thinking about the rest of their lives, they realize it doesn't have to be the way they were raised. It doesn't have to be that situation, that there are other options, that there are other opportunities for them in life. Right? So I take my kids, I belong to a BNI network, Branton and I belong to the similar network, and one of the things that I do is I take my kids and introduce them to local business owners and say, let's go have lunch together. And I want you to interview them and talk to them and find out what you might want to do when you grow up, right? Because they don't ever think about that. Remember, that's not a requirement of a foster parent to sit down and have these life skill conversations. So oftentimes what you'll see in these foster homes are kids who have locks on cabinets are very, very common, right? So actual padlocks on every single cabinet and refrigerator so that that child doesn't get the choice of what they want to eat, when they want to eat, what they want to do, right? They have to ask for permission to sit on the couch. I actually have had that experience firsthand where I went in and the child actually asked their foster parent, is it okay if I sit on the couch today? Because normally they sit on the floor. Right? So the things that we take for granted in our own homes and with our own children and grandchildren aren't things that these kids can take for granted, right? And so when they come to the Connection Center, they absolutely can. This is their space. There are no locks anywhere. Now, they have a CASA volunteer there who has to give them permission. We don't let the kids eat candy all day and all night, right? But they can come and hang out and have the snacks that they want or make the meals that they want and learn. There's arts and crafts. We do arts and crafts every week. We have teen nights. We have a birthday program. Oftentimes, kids in foster care don't get to celebrate their birthdays, and they probably aren't united with their siblings. And so we have a monthly birthday party where all kids born in that month get together and we throw a big group birthday party. They can invite their brothers and sisters. Their CASA volunteer can go into what we call our giving room, which is a community room. It's the only room in the house that's off limits to our kids. We do keep that closed so that they don't go in there. And what that is it's all the donations that we receive from community members. That might be toys, games, journals, and fun things for people, or it could be hygiene items or backpacks and back to school supplies that those kids need, where their CASA volunteer can go in there and shop for them free of charge. And so during the birthday club, birthday program, Birthdays Matter program, they can actually, the volunteer can sneak in there, get them a birthday present, wrap it up, and then be able to give that to them without having to spend money out of their own pocket. So our Connection Center is a really, really great resource for our volunteers and for the kids that we serve. And so we're always looking for opportunities to have support in that so that we can make sure that it still remains that. That's probably the biggest deterrent to someone becoming a volunteer. So I showed you what a volunteer looks like, right? They look like everyday people. They look like you and me, our kids, our parents, everyone in our lives. And so what we like to do within that Connection Center is make sure that they all have access to being able to do that. We would think that it shouldn't be that hard. I shouldn't say we. I thought, let me say it that way. I moved to Las Vegas 10 years ago. And part of the reason that I moved here, I came from Chicago, running a company. It was quite a pressure cooker, if I'm being honest, of a situation. And I had just decided enough is enough. I want to live my life. And so came to Vegas because I used to throw events here and I'd have team building activities and we'd always do these great week-long training sessions. And towards the end, one of the things that we did is everybody wanted to come to Vegas, right? And so that terrified me. I don't want to bring a team of 150 people to Vegas for a week and give them expense accounts and let them go wild, right? And so what we did is we started doing some give back opportunities and filling their time up. And so we came here and were able to partner with several different organizations as part of that. And I was blown away by the level of commitment that this community gives back, and I wanted to be a part of that. And so I personally chose to move to Las Vegas and to do exactly this. So I worked for the first couple of years, retired, and decided to dedicate myself to nonprofit work and giving back to my community. I'm lucky enough to be able to do that with kids that are the most amazing creatures on this planet. I absolutely love all of the kids that I've had the opportunity to work with. And so when I came in and became a CASA volunteer myself, I was very gung-ho, and I went to the program literally at my swearing in. I was in court, had just been sworn in as a volunteer by a judge, went to the program and said, how can I help? How can I do more? There has to be more. I've seen it. I can't unsee what happens. And she said to me, just volunteer. That's what we need. Right? And so I did that for a couple of years, and I kept showing up, and I kept doing everything that I was doing for my kids, in addition to that, volunteering for every extra thing they had in the office, right? Cleaning closets, sweeping floors, doing filing, doing anything that the program needed me to do. And one day, through happenstance, I always love telling this story, our he has simply retired recently, but the court CEO was at an event, and I didn't know who he was. And I showed up at that CASA event, and I remember every time I went, I would look around and see people around me, and it wasn't very facilitated in conversation. They didn't have the networking skills that you all in this room have, and so it was a lot of volunteers who all got together and didn't really know what they were supposed to be talking to each other about. So there was a lot of talk about the weather, or about sports or what we were doing on vacation that year. And they didn't feel all that valuable to me. And so I literally talked to myself in the car that day and kept saying to myself, I don't know that I'm going to keep showing up and doing this. I'll keep being a CASA volunteer, of course, but I don't know that I'm going to show up to these events anymore. They just aren't working for me. And I walked in 5 minutes late, which I'm never late to anything. So I think it was just the universe created this opportunity where I walked in 5 minutes late and there was one seat in the entire place. It was in the very middle of the room and they were doing a formal presentation. So I did the walk of shame, embarrass, excuse me, pardon me, I'm so sorry, right? Getting to my seat, slunk down in my chair. And right after the presentation, I took a deep breath and I said to myself, you can do this. Turn to the person next to you and start a conversation. Today's the day they're going to talk back. Right? They're going to want to have this conversation with you. And so I turned to the person next to me, and before I could say anything, he said to me, hi, what's the best part about being a CASA volunteer? I was like, great, this is a good conversation. And I shared all those things, and that he was very skilled in facilitating this conversation, and what's the hardest part about the role, and what would you do different? And then he said to me, if you could do anything, what would it be? And I said, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're asking me this. It's amazing. I've been telling the program this for the last 3.5 years. I was in corporate America. I ran HR teams, ran operations, and I know that we just need more volunteers because I know the work that I do is so valuable to the kids. And I can absolutely say that I have changed children's lives by being their CASA volunteer. In 5 to 10 hours a month, just by showing up, I can absolutely look in the mirror and say, I changed that child's story, right? But we need more of us. At the time, we had 217 volunteers for 3,200 kids. So you can imagine we get the worst of the worst cases, the most badly abused, the most badly neglected kids that need us the most. Not always the kids that even want us in their lives, right? All of that trauma is going to turn them into not wanting that volunteer. So there's a lot of pushback and resistance in the beginning, right? And so I said to him, what we need are just more volunteers. We need a recruiting engine. We need to get out there. We need to spread awareness. And he said, really? Well, how would you do that? And I said, well, it's amazing you asked me. This is my plan. This is exactly how I would do it. And so I walked him through this 10-point plan of all the things I would do. And I kept saying, I'd love to get involved. I'd love to help you in any way that I can. This is kind of what I'm meant to do. And he said, great. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Steve Gerson. I am the court CEO. I run the entire court judicial system as well as the CASA program. Will you stay after today and talk to the court administrator with me? I'd love to see you start a nonprofit. And I said, absolutely not. And he said, what are you talking about? You have this great plan. And I said, right. And I'm also going to be the first volunteer in history to get fired from a volunteer role. And these kids matter way too much for me. There's no way I'm going to do that. And he said, well, let me start that conversation. And so I started Champions for CASA 4.5 years ago. And what we do is all of the recruiting, retention, and recognition of volunteers. And so my goal is always about spreading awareness throughout the community. So I take great pride in the fact that most of you in this room knew what CASA volunteers were, knew about the program. The billboards are obviously working, so thank you for that. But opportunities to get out in front of our community and share this information is really the focus of what I do day in and day out. Because like I said, getting more volunteers is what's important. And so I really thank you for the opportunity today. Happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. But like I said, I could stand up here all day long and say, please give me money. That's not actually what I want. I want you to become volunteers, or I want you to tell others about becoming volunteers. I want you to invite me into workplaces so I can tell employee groups about volunteers. Have a wine social night at your house. I'll bring the wine and charcuterie. We'll do it with all your friends. Learn about how to give back in your community. I'm open to anything and everything to get this word out so that we can help more kids. Okay.
Jennifer, thanks for being here. Thanks for moving here and being such a productive member of Las Vegas. We need more people like you moving here. Really appreciate it. You'd be a great Rotarian in the Las Vegas Rotary Club, by the way. I'm sure a lot of us are already thinking about trying to see if we can find time, because this is right up our alley of what we do in this club. I want to also just plant a seed for just a minute for you. We've always been involved in a program called Santa Clothes. And I don't know if it might be a vehicle that you could maybe do some background screening for some of those kids to attend our program where we shop for winter clothing for them just before Christmas. And I think, I didn't see Jim here, but I think Carrie's here. Carrie, are you here? Carrie's right here. So I'm going to ask Carrie to maybe go over and talk with you after just to tell you a little bit more about it. But basically, we take kids shopping at Christmas time for shoes, socks, underwear, and I can't think of a better organization that would be another addition to Santa Claus if we can make that work out and try to have help some of those kids as well in another way. So thank you.
Thank you for that. That'd be amazing.
Jennifer, thank you for being here. I did 25 years in the family law arena, and I can single-handedly say that CASA is the most authentic, genuine, and functional program that the 8th Judicial District Court has for them to use. You are remarkable at what you do. I know you need volunteers, and I know the concept of that is normally the one-on-one. Being in Rotary, is there any other avenue that we could contribute? In other words, maybe a group of Rotarians comes to your quiet place and does a teaching class for cooking, or takes that off, where we don't necessarily have to build that one-on-one, but maybe we could contribute in another avenue.
Thank you for that. That's a great question. So, as you probably know and can imagine, everything is confidential for these kids, so we don't have the opportunity to introduce them to community members without there being a particular point of interest. And so my Connection Center is, I like to use it as my gray line area where I can stretch that a little bit. So I love this question because there are ways. For example, when I look at something like our Birthday Matters program, we could invite a team of people to come in and decorate. And make it a birthday party theme, and maybe bring some birthday cakes and pizzas or something along those lines, right? To be able to do something like that. Not always one-on-one with the kids, right? So those kinds of opportunities are usually before the center opens, get it all decorated and ready, and know that the work you're doing matters so much, right? And then we would take pictures with no faces and share those back to kind of highlight the work that we do. With that Connection Center, we always need project days, right? So there may be something where we paint a fence or, do something of those kinds of nature. I'm open to anything and everything. I like to say that I take the approach of bringing business to the court system and to the government versus, the opposite, which sometimes can be a little more traditional in nature. So I'm one of those people that if there's a will, there's a way. So I lead with yes. So I would say if anyone has ideas of ways to get involved or things that you might want to do, absolutely the answer will be yes. We just have to figure out how. You did mention one area which would be like leading a cooking class. So I wouldn't be able to have a large group, right? But if we had a handful of people that wanted to come in and do a cooking class, we could absolutely get away with something like that, where it's just a handful of people who are skilled in cooking that could actually teach kids. We actually just held something called a culinary event where we had Let Us Entertain You restaurant group came in and did that with our volunteers and kids, and then we were able to use that and turn it into a kind of community fundraiser opportunity as well. It's at the Community Center, if everyone didn't hear that. Community Center is located at 212 South Jones, which is Jones and 95.
Jennifer, thank you for the work that you do. I'm just looking at numbers. If there's 3,200 plus and there's 600 volunteers and they're one-on-one, you're like 2,600 people short, at least.
The math doesn't math.
So I'm going to go talk to my wife again. What do you, is it supposed to be one-on-one?
So we're actually looking for 1,500 volunteers.
1,500.
Because
okay.
oftentimes you'll work with a sibling group, so representing multiple children in that sibling group. So 1,500 volunteers would get us to where we need to be.
What's the minimum hours you can volunteer for? Is there a minimum?
Yeah, it's a monthly commitment. It's 5 to 10 hours per month.
Okay,
And so you must spend a minimum of 2 hours with your child each month. The rest of that time, and I'm really glad you asked that, the rest of that time could be done doing things behind the scenes. So making phone calls to the school and talking to the teacher, talking to the therapist, talking to the foster parents. And those are all things that can be scheduled around your life, right? So whenever the time permits, you make a quick phone call, you do those kinds of things. We write court reports every 6 months for the judge. Those take a couple of hours. So to really make up that 5 to 10 hours a month, it's a minimum of 2 hours, one-on-one with the child, and the rest of it kind of fits in wherever it can.
Annie travels a lot too. Could she take them with her?
In rare situations, believe it or not.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you. That was a great presentation. There used to be a young man in our group who was a member here, actually, that participates in CASA. So I learned a little bit about your organization from him when I was at a NAOP breakfast or luncheon, something of that nature. But he loved it and talked very highly of it. My question for you is, I know you've only been doing it for 10 years, so do you have a success story that you can share where a child who might have been more around like the 15, 18 years that went through the program with a mentor, and now what they're doing beyond that and the success that they have in their life because of that relationship with their mentor?
Absolutely, I would love to share that. So I personally have worked with 8 children. 6 of them have either been reunified or have aged out of foster care. I am in contact with almost all of them. There's only one that I haven't spoken to since they aged out. So I personally have some of those success stories, but the one that I like to highlight the most is actually from a fellow CASA volunteer. I actually host a podcast once a month. It's called The Power of One, and it's with a former foster youth. And this individual foster youth had a pretty significant story, a pretty strong background, had been in and out of foster care multiple times, had lived in multiple homes, and unfortunately was suffering abuse in the foster home that he was in. And he literally was driving in the car with his foster parents one afternoon. I think he was about 13, 14 years old, and was driving in the car and had finally just had enough. And he decided, I cannot do this for one more second. He had been asking anyone to listen, to make a change, to do something. They weren't. He had no shoes on. He was barefoot and literally jumped out of a moving car here in Las Vegas. And another car almost hit him, stopped, and he just jumped into this person's car and said, I need you to help me. Please help me. And they said, okay, I'm going to call 911, and started calling 911. And he said, stop. I need you to call my CASA volunteer. That's who's going to be here first. And he called his CASA volunteer, and she answered the phone. She's my former executive director of the organization. And he said to her, Pam, I need you. We're here. We're at these cross streets. Can you get here? And she dropped everything and jumped in her car and ran. And they tell the story. He's talked about it on our podcast publicly, that she got there before the police did. And that's kind of the difference that a CASA volunteer can make. He memorized her phone number, knew that, and was able to get there. But the story for him is he grew up, and this actually came out in a podcast, real life actually just happened. We were talking, and we had somebody from Child Protective Services and a police officer on the podcast show. And he had said to them as we were talking, he literally just stopped and looked at him and he said, I'm sorry, you're talking about, he was talking to the police officer, and he said, you're talking about the role that you do as if it were something that was so great. And I got to be honest with you, I hated you. And the cop just looked at him and said, what are you talking about? Why? Why would you hate me? And he said, because you took me out of my house. You're the one that did that to me. And the officer explained, I didn't, actually. I had nothing to do with it. Child Protective Services did. And he looked at his co-presenter and said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw you under the bus, but that's not my role. That's actually their role. And they do it for your safety, right? And he started backstory and trying to peddle to that. And the kid said, I hated police my whole life. He was on psychotropic. They were about to put him on psychotropic medication, and his CASA volunteer stepped in at that appointment and said, absolutely not. This kid doesn't need this medication. We're not allowing this to happen. She got involved and stopped all of that when he got into a new foster home as a result of him jumping out of the car and all that, got into that med management and stopped them from giving him the medication. He ended up becoming a military police officer. So he serves in the U.S. Marine Corps today as a military police officer after all of that he's gone through. So. Pretty phenomenal. Thank you.
Jennifer, thank you so much. I mentioned I used to be chairman of the Prince William County CASA. Oh, Brandon, we need to work together here, see what we can do. We'd love to get a couple Rotary members to be CASA volunteers, and maybe we can get some information about how to do that and then how long they are associated with a child. And for just a token of our appreciation here today, we have a certificate. Donation will be made to the Ronald McDonald House in your name. And we also have this wonderful book, History of Our Club here. You can go through that. And hopefully, as everybody warmly said already, love to have you come back and be a member of our club.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, with that, another great meeting. Thanks, everybody. And you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Not that time, Debbie. All right, I'm reminded of Ohm's Law in Club Runner, where some people are the current and some people are the resistance. So, right? So, let's not be the resistance. Let's get signed up because you know what? You want to be here. I feel that need. Meeting adjourned. Be safe out there. Yeah.
V equals IR.
No, it's V. Yeah, V equals IR.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
I fucking got through electrical engineering by skinning my teeth.
Did ya?
Somehow you just said it. I remember
Came
that.
back.
Other things like P equals.
Well, I was just thinking about the resistance that we have in our club in this. I was like, no, I'm an electrician too, so it's like Ohm's law.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, V equals IR.
All right, buddy. Enjoy your trip. Send us some trout.